guys, good Saturday morning to you. Wanted to do a quick video for you because we have a couple things set in motion. I did a video a couple days ago where I went over 6 things that I thought could allow Fisker to survive. And oddly enough, the first thing that I had on my list has been put into motion. So let's talk about that and see what we come up with. But before we do that, of course, we need to get the YouTube disclaimers out of the way to keep me out of YouTube jail. So none of my content constitutes professional advice. Viewers that follow any content, suggestions, or anything from my channel do so at their own risk because you are responsible for your own actions. All right, let's jump right into it. I had 6 things in this order that could allow Fisker to survive. Number 1 was the note holder allows it. Now, if you've not watched that video, I would actually encourage you to go back and watch that video. It's simply called 6 things that would allow Fisker to survive. So number 1, the note holder allows it. And I said in that video, I said the note holder owns us. So first and foremost, we have to start working with the note holder. So the second thing was we raise money, either privately, collectively, or with a partner, a buyer or something along those lines. Number 3, I said Henrik and Gita give up some control. 4, Gita steps down from her current role as COO and CFO. 5, we restart production. We find a way to do that. And number 6, we run a tight ship with a new CEO and Henrik steps down and we bring in a new CEO. Now in that video I said I'm not naive enough to think that Henrik and Gita will leave the company. That's not my intentions here. I'm just saying that, mistakes have been made. And so since mistakes have been made, in any company I've ever followed, when really big mistakes are made, you get the can and you bring in somebody else that can get the job done. So I think Henrik and Gita would stick around, but I do think they need to step down from their current roles. So let's talk about number 1, because number 1, oddly enough, has now been put into action with their most recent 8K. Now there was 2 8Ks released, and this was over the second 8K, and I'm going to read some from that, so just bear with me. So for simplicity, I'm simply going to look down and I'm going to read part of the 8K. I'm going to skip some of it, of course, but I'm going to read the parts that are important that have set number 1 that I stated just a couple days ago into motion. So here we go. As a result of such events of default, reading directly from the 8K, the investor, among other things, has acquired certain rights and remedies, including the right to accelerate the notes by requiring the company, Fisker of course, to immediately redeem 100% of the outstanding notes. Now, that's where I said that we are in default with the note holder. So we're in default, so, the note holder owns us. It's calling the shots. I'm skipping some. On April the 4th, 2024, this is when the other 8K came out that I'm reading from. On April the 4th, 2024, the company, certain subsidiaries of the company who are guarantors of the note and the investor entered into a forbearance agreement, pursuant to which the investor agreed to, among other things, forbear from enforcing its right to immediate redemption as demanded in the event of default redemption. So, we're in default and the note holder is saying, okay, yeah, we can do this, but we choose not to. Now, here was the, the asterisk, if you will. Skipping some more and going on down to the bottom of this. In connection with entry into the forbearance agreement, the company paid the investor a forbearance fee equal to $500,000, payable in cash and in kind, as described in the forbearance agreement. The forbearance period under the forbearance agreement commenced on April the 4th, 2024, and will end on the earlier of April the 21st, 2024. So what do we make of this? Let's talk about that. All right, just a couple days ago, I said that, the note holder has to allow anything that goes forward. And then I had those other 5 things. And how do we allow Fisker to survive? It looks like, very much so, as a matter of fact, that my number 1 reason to allow Fisker to survive has been set into motion. And that's through the note holder. So the note holder is now saying, okay, we're going to work with you. Now, how much are they going to work with us? I have no idea, but we've brought in a lot of new people. We've brought in a lot of new teams. I've done videos over that. I would encourage you to watch those. So, this is just a quick reminder. Since we have done all of that, and now that the note holder is opening the door for Fisker, what we have to do now is get an agreement, in my opinion, on the next step, and the next step would be raising money. Now, when we brought in those two other entities, Deutsche Bank and the, PJT, without looking at my notes, okay, bringing those in, and then we brought in the Dubell guy, it looks very much to me like Fisker is trying their best to raise money. So, that would be step one and step two in my notes from just a couple days ago. The note holder allows it, we raise money, and maybe we live to fight another day. Now, I also brought out some other things. Of course, we're fire sale in the oceans, and that may be going very well. It seems, a lot of interest is there. But that's an unsustainable event because we only have so many oceans. And, they're already paid for to a large degree. So, that is money in our coffers that we can use. But, we're in a bad way, okay? There's no getting around that. Fisker may very well go bankrupt. But it looks to me like Fisker is trying very hard to not go bankrupt. So personally, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for a miracle, and actually I'm praying for a miracle because, we clearly need a miracle, and I would like to see Fisker survive. So what happens if these two things come to be? The note holder allows it and we raise money. I think that would depend on how much money we raise. All of a sudden Fisker could be, be back, maybe. We also may never be back, okay? We have to raise money, find a way to restart production, and then those other things that I suggested in that video. Now, those are not must-dos, but I think they are very high on the list if we want to see Fisker survive and do well. I think Henrik and Gita, speaking personally, and I follow this company like no one would believe, I think they have burned too many bridges. I think they've done too many things wrong, and I think they've, basically put the company in this position. So Henrik and Gita, if you're listening, however likely or unlikely, it would be super wise to accept this, become the face of the company, but not the roles of the company, and give up those positions for someone that can come in and eventually run a tight ship once we wade through this. So now, on a personal note, what my wife and I have decided to do, and this is tough, man, okay, so just hear me out. We have decided to drive the ocean, no matter how this plays out, okay? If Fisker survives, then, we have no worries on the warranty, okay? But if Fisker does not survive, I'm going worst case scenario here. We have decided to drive the daylights out of the ocean and try to get our money's worth out of it and hope we never have a serious problem. Because if we do have a serious problem, the odds of getting it resolved become very, very slim. Whether you can get parts, whether you can get service, whether you can get a tech, that becomes very, very tough. Now, another thing we have decided to do, and I never like to mention numbers, I never like to mention shares, okay? I don't like to do that, but I still have all of my shares in my Roth. I still have all of my Leaps, which, are just crushed. They're worthless, okay, unless we get an incredible run, We have decided to start tossing a little bit of money in Fisker. I'm not going to say what that little bit of money is. I've never been comfortable doing that in any way. But we are going to start tossing a little bit of money in Fisker, and hope that we get the miracle and pray that we get the miracle. Now, if we don't get it, okay, life goes on. Okay, we move on. I've come to complete grips with this, that Fisker is potentially a total bust. But, I drive the ocean every day, and I love driving that thing, and I feel like Fisker is definitely worth saving, and I hope that, we can find a savior in the company. I hope we live to fight, for many, many decades to come, and we become an automotive giant. So those are my two things I'm ending the video with. We are going to drive the ocean. We are going to keep the ocean. It just doesn't make sense to do anything else from our point of view. Just drive the daylights out of it and hope for the best. And then a little bit of money at the company, in case we, become Carvana 2.0. So, maybe we can recoup some of our losses. All right, guys. Anyway, just a quick video because step one on my 6 things for Fisker to survive is in motion. And I think that was, you know, the elephant in the room, as I mentioned in my video. If you never watched that video, I would encourage you to go back and watch that. 6 things that would help Fisker survive. All right, guys, thanks for joining in. I appreciate it. Appreciate the support. And if you enjoyed this video or you found it helpful, just hit the like button. That's going to help other people find my channel and my content and allow my channel to grow. And my number one concern, as I always say in all my videos, if I think to bring it up, my number one concern is to provide accurate information for the company and the product. All right, guys, thanks a lot. And until next time.